let's have a look at Bitcoin. It's going to be a quick stream today. I was having a look and there was this pennant shape that was forming. I just roughly drew it yesterday on my phone, and I'm just going to have a look at that first and see if I can discover some things about the price action. Good morning, Warchild. I've got to zoom in a bit. Okay. Didn't quite get as high as the top of that line. And then this line is going to be debatable as well, because you have this and then you also have a slightly outer trend line there. Okay. Probably going down, huh? Sorry, it looks like we're going down. Looks like it. So we've come back up to back test this previous all-time high, and look, perfect rejection. That's this head and shoulders pattern, back test the neckline. So I think we're probably heading down. That's what it looks like. It's quite low volume. It's not crazy volume. And I think, I don't know if this trend line is going to hold. Probably go for the lower one to form a more balanced pattern. Like this one. So wherever this stands. That's your triangle off the bottom trend lines. Yesterday I had a long, which I streamed, and then it was quite a good long. I took my profit on the long. Where was it? And I actually took profit at the point of control and up here. Now we're back down. That short was not correct because the point of control didn't act as resistance, and that's obviously didn't happen either, but this happened, going up and up. Feel the gap and back down. For continued strength, you didn't want to lose this pivot here. You lost it, back tested it and went down. and I didn't take the short because I was out. I just took profit. So usually if I'm not really 100% focused, I don't trade, but I will take profit if I'm in a position that where it hits my target. And in those longs yesterday, I posted them on my Twitter. But there was a planned short for there, if you remember, to complete the gap, filling the gap. That's what happened. The gap was filled and then it just got a rejection. Why? Because as long as you fill the gap, you come into resistance. There was a golden pocket there as well. See that? So yeah, so looking at the range now, okay, that completely didn't work. Let's get rid of that now. So sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. That trend line, we'll keep that. Okay, that's irrelevant now. That's still relevant. So we've come back underneath this previous pivot and the price action is looking weak again. Okay, the single prints are all cleared, so I can clear those. Okay. Let me zoom out a little bit. So let me just check the volume just to see what the volume is saying. Local volume levels. See if there's any change. No changes. Slightly low, that's fine. No real changes. We've just lost this point of control again without any forming any kind of support. And probably the reason why is because we went through it without forming any resistance. So the price action has ignored the point of control. I think part of the reason why we experience this kind of behavior is because if you look at the volume profile of this whole range, where the point of control is, it's actually quite, all of this is quite large volume. It's quite a large amount of volume. It's more like one big area than one exact spot. It's very different to when you suddenly go into low volume and then come out into a high volume node like that. This is very different. That being said, if the price goes up, it could resist off the point of control. So we're getting a little bit of a sell-off. Back into this local range. For all intents and purposes, that's bearish. That's not bullish at all. That's quite bearish. You see that? The value area high is holding as resistance. And now we're heading towards the point of control lower down. It's quite bearish price action. We're back into the range. That was deviation from the range, back into the range. It's pretty bearish right now, actually. Just looking at what's happening. Levels of support weren't held as support. What you wanted to see was for that to hold. That would have been bullish. But to lose it and to backtest it as resistance is bearish. So we're experiencing bearish price action right now. Just you have to use that information to determine your bias. Yeah, you can't just so Bitcoin is bullish, but therefore I'm bullish. Whereas today it's looking bearish, you know, like you're losing levels of support, you're flipping them into resistance, you've had a rejection from levels higher up. You know, that's not bullish, that's bearish price action. And so you're not, no one is going to be longing this at the moment. They're going to be waiting for the price to find support. That's what's going to happen. You have to wait for the price to slow down. You have to wait for the price to find support. And that's when you can long if you're looking to long, or if you're looking to short, you have to short the pullbacks into resistance. It's not a bad area to short, to be honest with you, looking at it, because we literally the last half an hour we've sold off from the value area high. I mean, on the next pullback you'd have a short trade potentially, just that candle itself. Don't know how far it can come back. If it was to come back, you could probably have a tighter stop actually, but I don't know. Look, we've had that chance and we've missed it, so I don't know if it's gonna do that again, you know, just to fill this little gap that's been formed here. That would be nice. And what I'm seeing now of Bitcoin is a little bit of a slow, a lot of volatility and a little bit of a slow bleed. Yeah, so there's a slow bleed happening. It's not crazy movements, and it's just slowly bleeding. Everything's bleeding, and that's having a reflection on the wider market. But right now I'm seeing bullish, bearish price action. You had a rejection from the all-time high. You couldn't find support on the point of control or the back tests of this value area. We've come into the value area, we've lost the value area high, rejected from it, and now we're heading down to the point of control. So this is all bearish price action right now. All of this is quite bearish. Okay, there's this trend line that could offer a little bit of support as the price comes down into this first trend line, but just looking at this kind of wider pattern, there's like an ABCD triangle forming, and so it is possible that we kind of head down. It's possible. Okay, so this is just something to bear in mind. Now the question is, does this line hold? You'd expect it to hold because it's tapped from this line here, so it's two points here, and it's quite a nice equal triangle, but it may not. You know, this is Bitcoin. We may just go through it and just head right down to capture the liquidity underneath these pivots. And it's all about liquidity at the end of the day. The price is just trying to find liquidity. Okay, there's not enough buy orders here, or if the buy orders are overpowered by sell orders, then the price is going down. It's as simple as that. No one can predict what's going to happen. Okay, it may find support here, may not, and just it's more likely than not going to not find support. That's what I think. Why? Because everyone can see this pattern. And that's the thing about Bitcoin. When you can see patterns, they usually fail. Okay. So if everyone is looking at this equal triangle pennant type pattern, which they are, because it's quite easy to see, then it's probably going to fail. That's what I think. And so if it doesn't fail, it may still fail. You may still get this kind of behavior to do this. You may still get that kind of behavior to the downside. Like everyone is expecting this to break to the upside. Okay. But that doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to break to the upside. What it can do is it could break to the downside. I think it's 50-50 actually. And because of the context of the all-time highs, I think it's more likely than not going to break to the downside to go up. I think that's the most, in my mind, that's the most probable scenario. And you'll know if this is going to break to the downside or to the upside because of the way the price is. If the price is at the lows, then it's bearish. If the price is at the highs, it's bullish. If we're bullish, we're going to be at the highs. We'll be pushing. Yeah, there'll be a lot of demand. But if it's bearish, there's not going to be much interest, so the price is looking for lower. So the fact that we've already rejected from the all-time high, the previous all-time high, it is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of weakness at that level. So the price is looking for lower. We're back into this lower range. I mean, pretty much we're forming some kind of ABC here. Maybe we have an ABC, and maybe we do bounce to reject. You know, that's kind of what I'm imagining, some kind of ABC, ABC, then ABC. And it doesn't even have to go up that high. You could get a situation where if that's your ABC, then you have like a ABC like that for a BC down there, something like that. And actually that looks like some kind of 5 waves, doesn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with a final liquidation run. And then we have this harmonic in mind. Let me see how that looks. Not great, because the timings are all wrong. I don't like it. The further it goes, I don't like it, actually. So I'm not fond of this either, because it doesn't look right now. Unless this pivot is much lower. But that still doesn't look right. Maybe that does look right. But you see, that has to happen soon. But then if the pivot's down there, then the fib time is incorrect too. So let me just change that to here. We're still coming down here now, so it doesn't work. So then the next one will be over here. That works. I think that works. Hold on, let me have a look. Do I have the image? Have a look. It's fuzzy. Try that. Is that fuzzy? It's better. Excuse me. See, that would be nice. That would be a some kind of Gartley, but that would have to happen soon. So for something like that, not really. It's still a Gartley, isn't it? It's not a crab. A crab would have to go much lower. So it's still a Gartley. But then this pivot and that pivot should kind of be parallel. I don't know if I like it. That would be a Gartley there. We'd have to go down all the way down there now. Doesn't even have to go down that far, but it does have to come underneath the B. Like something like that. And then you have the butterfly. That would be a butterfly of this one. But then you really have to move down tomorrow and Saturday. Like we have to have a real sell-off pushing right this weekend. We have to have a crazy sell-off. Then that would work. Then both of these would work. If we have a sell-off this weekend and we come down to this pivot here and take out this pivot, then this would work. If it's not such a slow sell-off, we have a bit of a crazy sell-off this weekend based on these on this fib time. That would be fine. And fib time, you could be like 1 or 2 days either side. It's not a big deal. And that would be a Gartley. Okay. We'd have to lose this triangle for that to happen. Okay. So let's see what the price, where the price ends up this weekend. Because if it happens, then it'll be an easy long to take. That's an easy long, okay? Because you're completing a harmonic and you're taking the liquidity at a level on time. So that'll be quite an easy long to take. And the entry will be very easy too, because you're just looking for a swing failure of that level, right? So it'll get really bearish if that happened, but that's when you long, you know, you buy the blood, basically. I think that a lot of things have to happen before that happens, and so that's why I'm not crazy enthusiastic about it at the moment. Where did my triangle go? I lose it. It's back in there. Dropped it. I still like this triangle, and for all intents and purposes, what could happen is the price could slowly kind of work its way down and then kind of just really start to annoy everyone. And then you might see somewhere near the halving, we might see one kind of fake out to break out, fake out to break out. This is my preferred idea, a fake out to break out of this triangle. And in the meantime, all you're going to get is some really terrible price action, very difficult to trade. And effectively what's going to happen is you're going to get a long, prolonged bleed on the altcoins, and then suddenly you're going to get this fake out to break out, and then you're going to get a massive pump on the altcoins, okay, and on the whole market. And that will be completion of this corrective pattern, which could be just some kind of, I don't know, whatever it is, maybe an ABCDE fake out to break out. That would be nice as well. All right, so I've got two ideas in mind on the slightly higher time, like on the mid time frame. I've got a fake out to break out, and I'll call that fake out to break out. Which is something like this. And then we've got our, if we do have a crazy sell-off this weekend on time, we've got this idea as well. That all depends about whether we do have a dump this weekend or not. And then this one, there are trades to be had, but it's better to catch it at the edges of the extended range, and then looking for reversals It's not going to be easy, and I don't think there's a trade here right now. I mean, we are back in the range. You'd have to have quite a wide invalidation, but the price could easily right now go nowhere. It could right now just kind of just hang around here for a while and do nothing, because you are coming back into previous volume levels, so there is going to be a little bit of support. It could find resistance and it could just kind of go I don't know how much fun that's going to be for altcoins. It would have been a lot more fun if the price could have held support and held there, because then Bitcoin is holding support. Right now, Bitcoin isn't holding support, it's trying to find support. That's what's happening with the price. Bitcoin is searching for liquidity where it can find support. And for all intents and purposes, this could be the support zone and it could just find support here. Okay. But that's still bearish because you're consolidating above support on a downtrend, which is bearish. That's bearish consolidation. It's not bullish consolidation, it's bearish consolidation. This is the local time frame. On the higher time frame, this whole consolidation is bullish. So you've got to separate time frames. Why is this bullish? Because you've got consolidation underneath resistance on the higher time frame. So locally you'll have bearish consolidation, but on the higher time frame we're still in bullish consolidation, because we're consolidating underneath the all-time high, potentially for a breakout to the upside. That's what it's looking like on the higher time frame. All right, so I'm not crazy about trading today at all. It doesn't look fun. Excuse me. And maybe the next trade. No, it's not fun at all. There's a short here. You'd have to have your invalidation above this point of control and this pivot. But it might take a few hours to get down to the point of control. You know, it might take a while. And it's not going to be crazy gains either. So it's not fun. So I'm probably not going to be trading today. Oh yeah, good point. So David is making a point about the CME gap. So let me just have a look at that. That's really thanks, David. That's well highlighted. So what people maybe don't realize is that you have this futures market called the CME, and it only trades Monday to Fridays. And so at the weekend, when Bitcoin is still trading, when the futures market opens on the Sunday evening, it creates gaps. Most of the times it's creating gaps in the market, and those gaps are usually those gaps are filled. And we have a gap somewhere. Oh, do we fill it? Look, is that filled? Yeah, that's filled, huh? That gap's filled, huh, David? There's a little bit of a gap left. You see the gap? So from here, from close to open, you had a gap. And we haven't actually filled it, actually. So probably if it does fill, that will probably be a good place for the price to bounce. And that will be another deviation from the range. If we are in this range, that's a deviation. Maybe we're going to have another deviation and stay back in this range. So let me just see where the gap is again. David's saying some stuff. What do you say? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea to trade right now. But it is looking bearish, so I wouldn't be looking for longs. If anything, look for shorts at the moment. We're at the top of this local range. We've lost key levels, so you'd probably be looking for shorts today. There is a gap here, so let me just mark it out. $63,600. Okay, so I'll go back to my other chart and I'll mark out this gap. There it is. Let me change it to text. See me get up. Okay. Yeah, I think it's possible that the price loses this local area, volume area, and then there is an opportunity to long there actually. Let me see where this triangle is. You're losing this trend line, and it kind of does matter where we kind of, like, if you were to land on this, it depends, like we have to see how the price reacts, but if you would go down now, depends when we fill the gap. Okay, I'm going to take a 2-minute break. I'll be right back and I'll continue. I've got some other things I need to look at. Sorry about that. Nature calls again. Yeah, so just go to a slightly higher time frame. You know, for all intents purposes, this whole consolidation range has been in reducing volume, decreasing volume. Yeah, I'm not seeing crazy bearishness, even though the market is bleeding. Okay, and I'm bullish overall. I'm like higher time frame bullish, but I'm just looking at the local price action, and I'm not seeing the bottom yet. You know, of all of this consolidation, and that's why I'm contemplating lower, because when you start losing levels of potential support into resistance, then that's not what you want to see. That's not strength. That's basically weakness. Okay. That's basically weakness.
Hi, I mean, this is my second time using Dtravel, but this time it came
So I'm bullish overall, but I'm just not. I just don't want people to get in trouble because they think the price is going to go up. Like, we have to be patient for this to play out, and so, you know, it would have been a lot better if we would have held support, and we haven't done that. It would have been a lot better for us all if this had gone up and consolidated in the higher range. Like, I would have preferred some kind of flat top triangle for our consolidation pattern, rather than some kind of equal triangle or potentially some kind of bullish harmonic. They're all bullish ideas. It's just that it makes it a lot harder for the market to make money. But in the long term, it's a great opportunity, because as the price goes down, you'll just be able to buy at better prices, and nothing changes as far as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is this year going to go up to probably 100,000 at least. Yeah, that's going to happen. You know, that there's no reason why it's not going to happen. But the question is, how far does it go down? And at the moment, we're kind of range bound on this upper range. It's forming different kinds of patterns, and at the moment, what I'm seeing is a little bit of hesitancy in the way people are accumulating and buying Bitcoin, and that's reflecting on the wider market. So there are trades to be had at the local range. Yeah, there are trades to be had, just trading the local ranges from top to bottom. This whole thing was a deviation, and potentially we might see another deviation if this range continues. You know, it's very possible. Let me have a look at, so we have this kind of triangle, and we have this trend line. We have the CME gap that hasn't been fully filled lower down. We still have the golden pocket at the value area low from this pivot to this pivot. So there's still support there, because that lands at the value area low, just above this this higher trend line. There's still a little bit of support there at the low of this range. I'm not crazy about it though, but There's a little bit of support locally here as well, probably at the local range point of control. No, it's slightly higher. Let me see what the extension is. Yeah, the extension would take us nicely into this lower triangle here. This is 1272. This lower part of this triangle. We have a daily level slightly lower. And that one. I'm trying to look at historic data to see if there's any anything that I've missed. I've got this buying tail here. Six one 293. Some single prints lower down here. Five 501 all the way down to here. 58501. It's pretty lower. It's quite low. I mean, really, we've got some strong, potentially some really strong support underneath this wick here, because you have single prints underneath this wick. That's going to be the best place to long, actually. The question is going to be how we get there, if we get there. All right, I don't really have anything to say. I think we're in this kind of this pennant at the moment, this kind of equal triangle. We haven't lost this slightly higher internal trend line yet, and we are in the range. We're still in the overall range at the moment. We've had a rejection off the all-time high, the previous all-time high. We're back in this local range right now. The point of control has not acted as support or resistance at the moment, and we're kind of back into this lower local range. There is a gap that hasn't been completely filled where this blue line is, so that it is possible in the near future that we go down and close that gap on the CME chart and kind of attack this bottom triangle trend line. Okay, and that probably will be a good place to long if there's a reaction. Okay, and the kind of reaction you want to see whenever we get there, it'll be nice if it lands at the same time as it comes into the CME gap. That would be next week. So the price would have to literally go nothing until next week for that to happen. But in any case, if it happens over this weekend, yeah, it could just do that. You could get a little bounce off the bottom of the triangle, clear and tidy up that gap. That could definitely happen back into this local range. I think the first kind of area of interest for a long will be down there after seeing this price action. And then the other way I would be approaching this now is looking at the local, how we've come back into this local range. I think if we go up now, and if I see some kind of, if we go down or if we go up now, if I see that there's forming a little bit of reaction off there, I'll be looking to short that. So I have I need an invalidation, and right now the nearest invalidation is too far away. If we go up there and find like a little bit of reaction off the point of control and off this previous high, then I will be looking to short that. I just need a smaller invalidation basically to make the trade worthwhile. I'm going to trade that right back down to the, probably to the bottom of the range, but probably to the point of control. That's the only kind of trade I'm thinking of right now. I'm not necessarily thinking of longing unless we're right at the lows and we're taking liquidity and we're coming back up. Okay, and I have to see how that works. Otherwise, I'll be looking for much lower. All right, that's kind of what I've got for Bitcoin at the moment. And we just have to keep an eye on the price action. So it's not cheery, but we kind of expected this a little bit, no? A little bit of a pre-Bitcoin halving doldrums. Bitcoin halving, that's when everyone gets excited, and we're still a couple of weeks away from that. That's when everyone's going to really get excited. Well, if you're buying spot, it's a great opportunity to just keep on accumulating.